Hi, my name is Bob Sanborn. I'm a lubrication specialist. I've been formulating high-performance lubricants for over 30 years. Today I have an exciting live demonstration for us. Take a look at this machine. This is what they call a Timken test device. It has a motor with a pulley and a belt that drives this race. It's a shaft with a race on the end, and we have a case-hardened steel bearing that sits in that holder, and it's going to ride on the race. We have a 30-to-1 leverage ratio, so every time I put a 1-pound weight on this hanger, it's going to add 30 pounds of friction to the machine. For our first test, let's run it dry. We have one weight on, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 weights. Machine seizes, and let's take a look at that bearing. We'll take the weights off. You can see there's a pretty big wear scar there. We'll wipe the race, repolish it. And now for my next test, I'm going to add an oil cup. And we're going to make a portable crankcase. I have the latest API certified motor oil. And we're going to put enough in there that it goes around the race. If we can get a close-up of that oil around the race. Okay, we have it. I got to turn it to a new spot, the bearing. Okay, it's right beside the wear scar. Here we go. Anything over the 5 weights is going to be the benefit of the motor oil. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 weights. The machine seizes again, and we look at that wear scar. It's a little smaller than the dry, but it looks very similar. For my next test, we're going to add some Protecta engine treatment. You use this as a full synthetic, and you use Protecta each oil change. I'm going to put a little bit in here and see if it makes a difference. Now, for this next test, I'm going to leave the weights on and leave it on the same wear scar, but later I'm going to test it on a new spot. Listen for a change in sound as I set this down. Hear it quiet right down? Okay, let's see if it'll take some more weights now. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Still running. Boy, that's a heavy load. 600 pounds of friction or pressure on that bearing. And not only does oil have to take extreme friction or pressure, it's got to be able to withstand heat. As you're in stop-and-go driving, etc., you got heat all summer. So we're going to let it ride just on that film affinity, that little bit of film, it's riding real good. We're going to let it get good and warm and good and hot. So we're going to let this run. Shortly, you start to see the light ends of the motor oil are starting to burn. We'll let her get good and hot. I have a Raytech temperature gun. I can shoot it on the bearing. We're 160. Oh, we're over 200 degrees. If I get it right on the bearing, we're over 200 degrees, 219, 220. We'll let it even get warmer. But not only does oil have to take friction and heat, it's got to be able to stand contamination. Because if you ever had a blown head gasket or a cracked liner and you get water or antifreeze in your engine's pretty much toast. So we put a little bit of water in here and you hear how hot it is. It was sizzling. Still sizzling. Now, let's take a look at the bearing. We're still on that same one that motor oil seized. And I told you we'd test it on a new spot. And I wanted to torture it first. Well, let's take a look at it. Let me wipe the bearing. You can see it's polished, but it didn't grow any in size after we added the Protecta. Okay? I'm going to move it to a new spot. It's very hot. We're on a new spot. I'll put that down so you can get a close-up of that new spot. And now we'll set this holder on that film with a little bit of Protecta on there. 7 weights was what motor oil went. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And if we take a look at the bearing, here I have to wipe it off. There's a film on there. You can see there's a polish spot. If we can get a close-up of that, there's a polish spot, but there's virtually no wear. Now, I'm going to put it back down. I'm going to set her on there. And we'll add some more weights. There's 20 weights. We wanted to validate the test results of this demonstration machine, so we went out and ran the motor oil warranty wear test. If you manufacture a motor oil in the United States, you have to pass this intensive test. We ran it twice. It cost over $100,000, but we ran it against the leading selling motor oil in the United States. First, we ran it without Protecta, and then we ran a new sample with 5% Protecta, and we achieved an almost 20% overall wear reduction and as high as 80% on the exhaust lobes. The other thing that you noticed during the demonstration, or you may have noticed, is that the film affinity, Protecta's ability to stay on the metal during the heat and the water test. The reason for that is, and the motor oil wouldn't, is that Protecta contains special extreme pressure or extreme friction additives. They're not found in any motor oil. And because of that, some people would say, well, it stays on the metal so good it must be corrosive in nature. So we ran what they call the motor oil warranty corrosion test, the L38. And we ran it against a different leading motor oil this time, and we got an astounding 37% reduction in wear over the motor oil by itself. Somebody then says, well, why didn't you just test a different motor oil? Because you probably picked one that doesn't work that well. But what I found in my 30 years of experience is the auto industry, they make the specifications for motor oils because they want their engines to wear a certain time so you buy a new car. And we found that all motor oils actually test the same because they meet the same specification. And that doesn't matter if it's a full synthetic, an exotic, they all test the same. If you would like to see how Protecta works in your car, actually prove that it works in your car, we can show you how to do an inexpensive test at an independent lab. Stay tuned for the next section. Thanks for watching.